This is a SnapEd New York video presentation.
Hello everyone, my name is Wendy Beckman and I'm a registered dietitian with the New York State Office of the Aging and SnapEd New York. Thanks for joining me today on What's Cooking with NYSOFA. Today I'm going to be making cherry puff pancakes. We'll be posting the link to the recipe below, and the recipe can also be found on the SnapEd New York website at www.snapedny.org. This recipe would make a great breakfast or dessert. I know you've heard me say it before that all forms of fruits and vegetables count. Fresh, frozen, canned, and dried can all be used to make half your plate fruits and vegetables. With this recipe, I'm going to use frozen cherries, but you could use fresh or canned if you like. When choosing canned fruit, look for varieties without added sugar. This recipe is made in a baking dish, or I'm going to use a skillet right in the oven. So it's a good way to make several servings at one time. Before we get into this recipe, let's look at the My Plate graphic. This recipe covers the fruits and vegetables section of My Plate because it contains cherries. You want to make half of your plate fruits and vegetables at each meal. My Plate is a graphic representation of what our plates should look like every time we sit down to eat. Remember that everything you eat and drink over time matters. You want to find your healthy eating style and maintain it for a lifetime. The right mix can help you be healthier now and in the future. This recipe makes 4 servings with 235 calories per serving. Each serving contains 10 grams of fat, 8 grams of protein, and 2 grams of fiber. This recipe is also low in sodium. So let's start making this cherry puff pancake. Remember to wash your hands with soap for at least 20 seconds or use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer before you start cooking. Let's look at the ingredients for this recipe. If you wanted to feed a larger group, you could double the recipe and use a larger baking dish. Here I have 3 eggs. Here is a half of a cup of fat-free or low-fat milk. I'm using 1% here. This is a teaspoon of vanilla. This is a half of a cup of all-purpose flour. Here I have a tablespoon of sugar. Now the recipe calls for an 1/8 teaspoon of cinnamon, and I like cinnamon, so I actually increased it to a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and I think you could add more if you wanted to. Here are 2 tablespoons of butter, and you can use margarine if you want to. And I also have here 2 cups of sweet cherries. These are frozen cherries that I have cut in half. Some of them are cut in half and some of them are whole. If you use fresh cherries, make sure you remove the pits. If you use frozen cherries, make sure that you thaw them and that you drain them well. Optionally, you can add a 1/4 cup of almonds, which I have here. You want to have them chopped or sliced into sliver. That's the best way to do it. The first step is to preheat your oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit, and I've already done that. The next thing you have to do is add the butter to the baking dish or skillet, like I have here, and we're going to place it into the oven until the butter is hot and bubbly and it's melted. So let me get my spatula here. I'm going to add the butter to the pan. There we go. And then I have to bring it over to the oven. Now please note, before you put a skillet into the oven, make sure that it's oven safe. Before I put that in the oven, I made sure that the handle wasn't going to melt. The handle's made out of silicone and it's safe to put in the oven. So the next thing we're going to do is put the eggs into a large bowl, or you can put them in a blender if you want to, and we're going to beat the eggs. But let me break them into the bowl first. All right, second one, last one. Okay, that's looking pretty good. All right, and then next we can add the milk to the eggs. So we're going to put all of the wet ingredients into this larger bowl. And next we can put the vanilla in, just like that. That looks pretty good. And then we're going to whisk all of that together until they're well blended. I think the best way to do that is use a whisk, or you can use a fork, or you can put it in a blender, whatever you want to do. All right. So that looks pretty good. All right. And next what we're going to do is take the dry ingredients and we're going to put them into this smaller bowl here. And then we're going to mix them together. So the first thing I'm going to do is add this flour. So this is half a cup of all-purpose flour. Then we have 2 tablespoons of sugar. And then the cinnamon. I think more is better when it comes to cinnamon, so I added a little extra. And then I'm going to mix it with a fork in this bowl. Just incorporate all of those ingredients together. All right. Now what we can do is add the dry ingredients here into the wet ingredients. So I like to put the wet ingredients into a larger bowl so that I have space to put all these things together here. There's that. All right, and now we want to mix these together until there aren't any lumps, or at least try to get rid of most of the lumps. Sometimes you can't get rid of all of them, but you know, you can do the best you can with it. And this dough here, or this batter, turns out sort of a medium consistency. It's not really thin, but it's not super thick like maybe a normal pancake recipe would be. So you just got to keep an eye on it. That's looking pretty good. Make sure that you incorporate everything together and try and get as many of the lumps out as possible. If you put it in a blender, usually that takes care of the lumps pretty well, but that's looking pretty good. Okay. Now, the next thing I have to do is get the skillet out of the oven. Hopefully that it's nice and hot in there, 450 degrees, and by now it should be all melted and bubbly. So let me go get that. Make sure if you're using a baking pan or you're using a skillet, make sure that you use a pot holder to get your item out of the oven. Don't burn yourself. Hold on. Let's go get that. All right. And it is indeed, the butter is indeed nice and hot and bubbly. So I'm just going to set that down here. And the next thing we have to do is put the cherries into this butter right here. So let's do that. Let's get all of those out of there. Good. And see, don't hold on to the handle without the pot holder there, because it is hot. And I am just going to make sure that these cherries are evenly on the bottom of this pan. Yep. And then I'm going to pour the batter over the top of this. And again, remember, this is hot, so you want to be very careful with it. We're going to get all of that batter into there. And then if you wanted to put some of the almonds on the top here, this is when you do it. And like I said, these are optional. You don't have to use almonds if you don't want to or you don't like them. Okay, it's going to go back into the oven for about 15 or 20 minutes until the edges are browned and the pancake sort of puffs in the middle. If you're using a dark pan like this, it might really only take about 10 minutes. So I'm going to put that back in the oven and I'll see how quickly that cooks up. All right, that was pretty easy. So what you're going to do is after it cooks, you're going to let the pan cool slightly before you cut it into 4 pieces, and the pancake will flatten out a little bit as it cools off. Now let me show you a pancake that I baked previously. And when I made this batch, I actually put it in a larger pan, so it came out a little bit thinner, but I'll show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like when it's done. And it smells delicious. I think it would be really yummy. I put some powdered sugar on the top of it, and it looks delicious with the almonds on top. So I hope that this recipe gave you some more ideas on how to incorporate more whole fruit into your diet. Don't forget to join me next month when I share more tips on how to save time, save money, and eat healthy. In January, I'll be making a healthy egg burrito. I'll be back with another edition of What's Cooking with NYSOFA on Friday, January 26th at 12:30 p.m. right here on the New York State Office for the Aging Facebook page and the New York State Office for the Aging YouTube channel. If you watch the show on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. Remember to hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time new content gets posted. This presentation was funded by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. This institution is an equal opportunity provider. Have a great day and stay safe out there.
Thank you for joining us today. We know the healthy choice isn't always the easiest choice, but small changes can make a big difference. Start today by getting involved with SNAP-Ed New York. This program is free for those who qualify or receive SNAP benefits. We want to help you save time, save money, and eat healthy. Learn how SNAP-Ed can make a difference in your life. For more information and to find your local program, visit snapedny.org. This material is funded by USDA's Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. SNAP. This institution is an equal opportunity provider.
Hi, I'm registered dietitian Wendy Beckman, host of What's Cooking with NYSOFA. Over the past 2 years, I've had the opportunity to share healthy, nutritious recipes with you on the show. I work for the New York State Office for the Aging, and thanks to a partnership with SNAP-Ed New York, our nutrition team reaches hundreds of thousands of older New Yorkers each year. So why a cooking program? 60% of health costs and related issues have nothing to do with health, but instead have to do with individual behaviors like our food choices and physical activity. The recipes we feature are nutritionally appropriate for older adults, meeting critical nutrition requirements for healthy aging. What I bet you don't know is that this show is only part of a larger effort. To help me explain what our nutrition team at the New York State Office for the Aging does and what a registered dietitian is, here is registered dietitian Lisbeth Irish.
A registered dietitian is a professional who has training and education in food and nutrition. To become an RD, you must complete certain requirements, including a minimum of a bachelor's degree from an institution that's accredited by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. You must also pass a national examination and meet continuing education requirements. What does that mean? As RDs, we are qualified to offer accurate advice about nutrition, and we can help answer your questions about how diet can affect your health. At NYSOFA, the registered dietitians handle many tasks. This includes hosting 2 online programs aimed at helping older New Yorkers make better nutrition choices. These programs are What's Cooking with NYSOFA, which is our monthly cooking demonstration, and a Facebook Live program that I host called Ask the Experts, Nutrition Edition. In the months ahead, be on your lookout for it. We'll be sharing your questions and our experts' answers about nutrition and health. New episodes of Ask the Experts Nutrition Edition debut the second Friday of each month on Facebook and YouTube.
As Lisbeth explained, registered dietitians at NYSOFA handle many tasks, including food safety at congregate meal sites, educational materials, and outreach. In the meantime, please don't miss an episode of either show produced by our team, What's Cooking with NYSOFA and Ask the Experts Nutrition Edition. Every episode is uploaded to YouTube, and you'll find the archive shows there.
Do you have a question about foods? Or do you have a particular health issue that you'd like to improve by changing your diet? Tune in to Ask the Experts Nutrition Edition every second Friday at 1 p.m. We'd love to hear from you.
Remember, registered dietitians are the experts in nutrition. Visit for more sound advice about eating healthy on a budget.